I've had the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 in hand for the past week. So how's it held up? Let's find out. First note before we dive too far into the video, nobody is sponsoring today. Nobody provided me this Tab S8 or loaned it to me in any way or any other method for all that YouTuber stuff. I pre-ordered and paid for this myself. Second note, yes, I'm a fan of Apple products, but that's not my whole personality. I use Apple right now because they are what works the best for me, but I'm always open to having a better experience and am pretty uninterested in flashy specs or features for the sake of those flashy specs or features. I just need what works, which leads us directly into the Tab S8 because I truly think that this will be replacing my iPad from here on out. As this is our first dedicated video about the Tab S8, let's quickly cover these specs and ordering options if you end up interested in this very versatile little tablet. At its base price, you can get the Tab S8 for $699, and yes, that's without trade-in or any other of the weird pricing shenanigans that Samsung gets up to, and yes, they do some pricing shenanigans. For that price, you'll get the 8-core Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, 128 gigabytes of storage, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and an 11-inch screen running at 120 Hz. There is also a current running promotion where you'll get the Samsung S Pen and a keyboard case included in that price. That's actually how I ended up with those accessories today. Now, a lot of folks have been telling me that these promotions last for a while, but who knows when you are actually watching this video? You could be watching it today, you could be watching it years in the future. So as of today, that exists, but I can't promise that it's always going to be that way. Hey, quick cut to editing, Gary. So I went back to check their website for all of the promotional materials to make sure that what I'm saying is up to date, and no longer is the keyboard case included. So you have to buy that separately. Now they may include it again in the future, but there was a time period between when I wrote the script, shot the video, and then went back to do the actual editing that it all changed. So I guess at any given point, you could get a free keyboard or you could not get a free keyboard, but just pay attention as you're ordering the tab. Back to the video. If you are a newcomer to the channel, welcome, but I generally run these X time later videos as a way to show what I've liked and I've disliked about a product in that given time. And today, I want to start off with what I've liked, and the first thing is that price. $699 is not cheap, and it's pretty expensive when you look at tablets as a nice to have and not a need to have like accessory part of technology. But I think what Samsung's done here is pretty smart. One, this matches up well with other offerings of its size and capabilities from other brands, namely Apple. And two, I really like that you get the keyboard case and pencil included in that $699. These tablets anymore are turning into little hybrid computer phone things, and I really don't like when major functionality is hidden behind accessories that you then have to buy separately. It's kind of like software or video games. I don't mind buying software or paying a license for it if I need it, and that's the pricing model, but don't hide major functionality or capabilities behind a second paywall. That drives me crazy. So good on Samsung for giving us essentially everything we need to get the tablet going at a lower price than the competition. The next thing I've really liked about the tablet is the display. This display is gorgeous. Now that shouldn't come as any big surprise because Samsung has like a whole division. They have an entire business in the screen making industry, so they should be able to provide a quality product at a reasonable price. If they couldn't, I think that would be the bigger story. And because of that logical conclusion, I really like how this looks. I think faster refresh rates matter more and more the bigger and bigger a device gets, so to have such a smooth operation on an 11-inch tablet, it's really nice to see. The display is also very crisp, it's very clear, the picture is vibrant, and while Samsung doesn't provide the rated nits of its panel, I was able to measure about 400 lux of brightness with my little handheld light meter. No, nits and lux aren't exactly a one-for-one, but it's pretty close. While it's not as good of a panel as the bigger S8 Plus or S8 Ultra, I think for the price, this is actually a really good inclusion. I have heard some folks complain about pulse width modulation with this screen. I personally haven't had any issues, but everybody reacts to different stimuli differently. If you find yourself susceptible to panel differences, I would check this screen out in store before buying one to see if it bothers you. The next thing I've really liked is the included keyboard case. This case is more like the Smart Folio keyboard and less like the Apple Magic Keyboard for their iPads, and yes, I would prefer a Magic Keyboard option. Even despite that, I really like this little keyboard. These keys are some of the nicest tablet keys that I've ever felt. I've typed every single script so far this week on this tablet, and a huge standout feature is this case. I love working off of it, and I didn't even have to pay for it. The keys are a little small and sort of scrunched, so if you have gigantic hands, you might need to go with the S8 Plus model, but for my normal size hands, I didn't have any major issues, and sometimes you can have problems with your fingers like running into each other if you have an overly small keyboard. I mean, they do have to make sacrifices on the size of the keys to make it work at all, and I'm okay with what they've done here. I wish it had a trackpad, and I know Samsung has a trackpad version of a keyboard case, but it does that Logitech thing of not having a stable base. It has like something coming off the back of the tablet to hold it up, which means that using it on a lap or something like that just wouldn't work. And I work from my couch a lot. I'm still looking for a quote-unquote perfect keyboard for this tablet, but what you get is really good. The next thing that I've loved, it's not something that I've even liked, but I've loved it, and you'll see that the first time you put the Tab S8 into this keyboard, and it's DeX mode. Holy crap, DeX mode is the best. It's essentially what makes this tablet for me. For those not aware, Samsung's DeX mode takes certain Samsung mobile devices, it's not all of them, but some of them, and it turns them into a hybrid machine that has a mobile component, but also turns it into like a little Chromebook. And it's kind of neat and a cool part to see a phone have this functionality, but it's a whole other thing entirely to have it on a tablet. You can take the tab and plug it into an actual computer monitor, and then it's just a computer. That's actually how I typed this script. I had the tablet plugged into my main monitor while I typed this all out, and I typed it out with the Tab's keyboard. It's incredible. There is no other way to put it. Being able to have dual modes like this on a tablet is actually pretty game-changing for me, and I hate using that term, but you got to think about it from my normal day perspective. Normally, I have to carry around a laptop that's like 4 years old. It chugs, and it barely works with modern team collaboration tools. It has awful battery life, and it's just kind of a pain. However, with this tablet, I've got an 11-inch device that on the one hand can be my Twitter browsing, YouTube watching, quick email checking normal machine, or I can simply plug it into my monitor and I have as much of a computer experience as I really need day to day. I don't need full-on power operating systems for what I normally do. I just need multi-window support, the ability to use all that productivity software, which does work on the Tab. I've taken several meetings just from this. All you need to do is either tap a button to have a tiny laptop that can do these things, or just plug it into a monitor and you are good to go. There are no silly iPadOS bars. There is no weird tablet functionality. It's a dual-purpose fun tablet and an actual work computer all in one. I seriously love this. Yes, for purposes of this video, the way that I had it set up to show you, it's kind of awkward, but if this were my only true computer, I would have it set up with a wireless keyboard and a mouse, and it would take up essentially no space. Team, I cannot say enough good things about this. If I wasn't a YouTuber, this would be my only computer. That's not hyperbole. That's not a YouTuber exaggeration. This is what I need in a tablet, and I cannot believe that I haven't tried this out before. You don't know, but I've been wanting to say that all week, so I'm really excited that we got to the 1 week later video so I could just get that off my chest. But that's not it. There are some other things that I've liked about the Tab S8 as well. The main one that we haven't covered yet being that this still has an expandable media slot. So you can put in up to a 1 terabyte micro SD card in here to expand that storage capacity. That's another incredible option. Internal SSDs are expensive. It's expensive with Apple, and it's expensive with Samsung, and expensive with everybody. So it's really nice to be able to spend like $130 if you want to more than quadruple your internal capacity. Yes, SSDs will read and write faster than any micro SD card, but seriously, does it matter? Like, are you doing big VFX or big video things on the Tab S8? I know Samsung is making a push toward content creation here, and we'll have to see with LumaFusion on the way. But even then, I don't think that speed difference is that big of a deal, and I really like that you can upgrade the memory yourself. And the last major thing that I've liked about the Tab S8 in the past week is the front-facing camera. Much like the other things that I've been glowing about, I think the front-facing camera goes a long way towards making this the one device that you need. Unlike other tablets that apparently think folks will only use said tablet in portrait orientation, the Tab S8 has its camera on the top of landscape mode, and that's where the tablet naturally rests if you need to video call someone. It just makes so much more sense. If you are going to market this as a productivity tool, why not make the collaboration side of the house as good as possible? And I've been thoroughly impressed with not only the placement of the camera, but with the image quality of that camera as well. And look, if you are a brand, you need to nail this because telework is no longer just a small footnote that you can pay lip service to. Plenty of us prefer it now, and that's a purchase decider for a lot of us. Okay, while I've loved a lot about the tablet, it's not perfect, and there are a few things that I haven't liked at the same time. The first thing that I haven't liked is operating system consistency. I guess that's the way I'll put it. In the unboxing video, we had a few stutters and slowdowns with the UI itself, and folks in the comments of that video told me that it was just the tablet setting itself up and that we shouldn't be seeing this anymore. But in the last week, I've frequently seen slowdowns and stutters, especially when doing something with the drop-down quick menu. It's obviously not a deal breaker for me, but it does break immersion, so to speak, when everything else is so smooth and seamless, but then you lose a lot of frames when trying to quickly get into Dex mode or any of the other menu options. The next thing that I haven't disliked, but I haven't really liked, are the speakers. Yes, it's got audio by AKG, whatever that means, but as somebody that primarily uses Apple tech, Apple sets the bar for audio quality really high. And while I'm not an audiophile, I can absolutely tell the difference between this and my iPad Pro. You gotta step it up a little bit. They work fine for what it is, but when you're so used to something being at a certain level, when it's not that good, you really pay attention to it. And the last thing I haven't liked is the facial recognition system. I have it set to unlock the tablet with my face, and I'm not sure that it's worked even 50% of the time. I do have it set to the stronger option so somebody couldn't just unlock the tablet with a picture of me, but it's not working great. It constantly tells me that it doesn't even see a face, so I have to type in my PIN every single time, which, much like the speakers, Face ID on my phone and my iPad, it's just so good that you don't even realize it exists because of how seamless it is. Here, it's just disappointing that it rarely works. But at the end of the day, so what, right? Look, I love this tablet. This is my favorite tablet in years. It does everything that I want, and it really fulfills the promise of being able to fill the role of a tiny computer and mobile device at will. Yes, I wish it had iMessage, and I wish it had FaceTime, so nothing's perfect, but I've got my phone and my Macbook that can fill that when needed. This is absolutely going to be my personal tablet going forward because it's straight up incredible. I just need it to have long-term longevity in both software and the hardware, but we'll have to find out about that in a future video. And if you like this video and you want to see how the Tab S8 compares to the iPad Pro more directly, you can find my video comparing the two by clicking right here. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.